Hello, welcome to Imago Dirge, a horror visual novel developed by Summer Origins, available on itch.io. And apparently, one day, you wake up as a monster, and you don't know why. How do you cope? I guess we'll see. I guess low content warning as well. This is a horror game, so there may be some disturbing content. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's begin. You wake up to darkness. Your body feels stiff and heavy. You cannot move. Something feels wrong. Very, very wrong. Let's go back to sleep. It's fine. It's just my sleep paralysis demons again. You really don't want to deal with this right now. Your exhaustion wins you over as you drift back to sleep. Just ignore all your problems. And sleep you did. For a very, very long time. Ending 1. Failed pupation. Okay. For a very long time. Well, that implies we wake up at some point. Alright, so instead, let us choose open your eyes. You know, the opposite of close your eyes. You know, close your eyes. Anyway, you open your eyes. You see flecks of light in an ocean of red and nothing more. Okay, let's move our hands. You start small, trying to move your fingers. As you twitch your fingers, you feel them come into contact with something. It's rigid, but thin and paper-like. It breaks with a sickening crack as you forcefully curl your fingers into a fist. You finally feel the air hitting your fingers. The cold morning air against your wet hands make you shiver. It is only then that you realize you couldn't breathe. You try to inhale, but there's only water in your lungs. You panic. Time to struggle. You force your body to move, each motion followed by a horrendous ripping sound. Struggle. Struggle. You struggle your whole body, try to claw your way out. You struggle, you keep struggling. There's nothing else to do but struggle. You're like a Pokemon who's run out of PP, you know? Which is a thing, right? You know, like, actually I don't know what it stands for, but, you know, PP. Like, when your Pokemon, like, doesn't have any, like, stamina left or whatever, it just struggles. Anyway, thankfully your struggles proved to be fruitful. But yeah, there was a time limit, apparently, in the... You know, I never see that usually in the visual novel. You know, time limits. I mean, it's somewhat interesting. It's always kind of interesting to see, like, gameplay mechanics in the visual novel. But you break free from the mysterious membrane. They are finally filling your lungs. Those first few breaths hurt like hell, but you're breathing, and you're alive. You feel the cold morning air hit your wet body. It's cold. And as your eyes adjust to the light, you see your hands underneath you. A mass of red with little pieces of skin hanging onto them. You feel acid rising into your throat. You stumble out of bed clumsily, like a fawn learning to stand for the first time. And you drag your body to the bathroom. Red hands. You puke into the sink. Disorientated and disgusted, you close your eyes for a moment before you hear knocking from the bedroom door. Somebody is saying, "Rise and shine, sleepyhead." That's your mom. She's waking you up as she usually does. So apparently we've turned to some kind of red skin abomination. I will get help. Desperate for help, you scramble for the door. You quickly walk towards the door, all the while trying to tell her what had happened. Your hand is hovering by the door handle, or I'll say that word. Your hand is hovering by the door handle when you realize that no voice has left your mouth. You halt. Instinctively touching your face, only to realize that your mouth can no longer vocalize like it used to. What's that, that title? You know, I have no mouth, but I must scream. Oh, come on now. You hear the door open. And you slam it back shut with all the force in your body, but it's too late. What What the hell is that? What happened? Oh, no, 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 no. Oh God, what did I do to deserve this? What's happening? No, our child. A monster. Among the sobbing noises, you hear your dad rising from his seat and coming closer. He tries the doorknob once, and then twice. You do your best to keep it shut. To be honest, the skin pattern just reminds me of Attack on Titan. Which one is the one? I mean, in the very beginning, the Colossus. Yeah, Colossus Titan has the weird skin texture, or really just skinless texture. Really, meat texture. That's what I'm reminded of. Hey, open up. Open the door before I... Can that thing even understand us? Ouch, being called a thing by your own little sister kind of hurts, actually. Open up before I knock this door down. You hear him walk away before running back and slamming the door, trying to get it open. You do your best to keep the door closed, but he slams his way anyway. It's hard to tell whether it's the fear or the aftershock of the impact that leaves your head ringing. That thing, that's not my son. This. What the hell is this? You stumble backwards trying to scamper away, but he grabs you anyway. You. What did you do to my son? You struggle against his grab. What did you do to him? Perhaps it's the panic. Perhaps it's the fear. Did you kill him? You fucking vermin, you. But your newborn hands barely scratch the surface of his skin. I'll kill you. Is that my brother? Surprised at your sister's words, his hands faltered, and you free yourself from his grasp. He's just faceless father, by the way. You take this chance to scamper away and hide under the bed. It's like a mini Titan. What do you mean? This is his skin? There's no blood or anything though, so is that? You watch as your dad piece the skin, or you watch as your dad No, you watch, it's a bit of typo, I think, but you watch as your dad sees the piece of your skin on your bed, or touches it? Maybe touches it, I don't know. You hear the rustling sounds. He takes the last remnants of that human with a sorrow in his eyes and drags himself out of the room. Oh no, my son, my poor, poor son. What happened to him? My son, he's gone, he's really gone. So that really is. She closes the door behind her before the muffled cries start beyond the door. Cool. Cool. I don't know why that was it. You carefully inch closer to the door, hoping to eavesdrop on the conversation. But all you can hear is just incoherent cries. And then finally, quiet. You hear quiet rustling here and there, unenthusiastic clinks of silverware, followed by some awkward mumbling, and then a series of footsteps coming closer and closer. You quickly move away from the door, preparing for the worst. But instead, a hand holding a plate of food appears. Hey, I'm guessing you wouldn't want to eat with us after all that. So, I guess I'll just leave this here. Her words trail off awkwardly as she closes the door behind her. You hear quiet shuffling and mumbling from outside the door, the air heavy with tension. It's not long until you hear the rattle and click of the front door, It is not long until you hear the rattle and click of the front door, that you can find... I don't know how to... I feel like it's also a typo, but... You can finally find yourself... Until that... I don't know, maybe I'm reading it wrong. Anyway, you can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Now that you're home alone, what do? Well, you lay out some traps for the home invaders, like that movie, Home Alone. Okay, well, I have some options. I guess we check for injuries. You check yourself for any injuries. Unsurprisingly, your body contains no bruises. That doesn't mean being shoved around like that didn't hurt, though. Looking at your seemingly chitinous skin, you wonder if you can get injured at all. Not that you like to find out, of course. I should not pronounce that. Chitness. It's like insect skin, basically. Examine the food. You examine the plate of food your sister left behind. Toast with butter and sugar, some fruits, a serving of yogurt and honey. However, you find that the taste isn't quite like you expected. It all tastes so bland. The yogurt is nice though, at least. However, you still find it difficult to eat, but you force it down your gullet anyway. Maybe your appetite's just been ruined after all that's happened this morning. Let's do some work? Are you serious? Work? Right now? Well, you still need to turn in your research paper, I guess. But is there a point in doing this, or is there any point in doing this when you're probably not even human anymore? Can you even still attend college like this? Hey man, you can still get an education just because the piece of paper, tells you that you finish, a particular like program doesn't mean you can't just learn on your own. You self-study. Don't they always say just pick up coding, just learn the code, and suddenly you make $1 million a year, or something. I don't know. That's what everyone always tells you. Let's see. Well, I don't know if we should we leave the room? Seems like a bad idea. Sure. Well, there's not much else to do in this room. It doesn't seem like your family is particularly excited to be around you while you look like this. So if you want to leave your room, this is your chance, I guess. Thankfully, your sister has been kind enough to leave the door unlocked. You step out of the room, this morning's event still lingering in your mind. After all of that, this place no longer feels like home. Well, let's go to the living room. You walk past the kitchen and to the series of couches next to it. On the sofa, you see the piece of molted skin left behind. Ah, yes, that's us. Our skin. Examining closely, it really looks like you. Well, it looked like you before all this happened, at least. It's a little disturbing, like seeing yourself in a broken mirror, except you can feel the texture of skin and all that. Its face is peaceful, for the most part, if you ignore its torn pieces. How do you feel about seeing yourself like this? I guess I'll just leave it alone. You don't particularly feel anything, looking at a dead piece of skin. While you understand why others might cling to your old self, you think it's maddening that they hold on to a dead molt rather than learn to understand you, who is here right now. Well, it is what it is, I guess. You'll find a way to live, whether you're human or not. Likewise, your family will need to learn to live with this, too. They leave the molted skin where it was. They can grieve all they want, but they need to accept that you've changed. Either that, or you'll make yourself a place that will. I guess go to the dining area. You head to the dining area right next to the living room. The dishes are mostly untouched. No one will be enthusiastic about breakfast after all that. It is then that you notice that the rest of your family have always had a sweet breakfast. You yourself always prefer the more savory kind of eggs and bacon and hash browns. Have you always been that different from them? There's really not much else to see here, and you really don't feel like cleaning up after the rest of your family. I go to the master's bedroom. Master bedroom? You decide to go to the master bedroom. It's neat, unlike your own disheveled room. On one of the shelves is a family photo during your high school graduation. Looking back at it makes you feel uncomfortable. To think they turned on your back like that so quickly when they lovingly hugged you like that just a few years before. It actually does kind of remind me. What's that like joke about like how your partner, or usually a girlfriend, whatever, would say like, "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" Or something like that. It's kind of like that, what if I was just a completely just not human and just a different like physical form? It's kind of like that. You understand, of course, that you're no longer that same child they loved and cared for. You can't help but wonder if that was all just a lie. But it is undeniable that those years were some of the happiest in your life. You look at the framed picture in your hands and contemplate taking it. Are you afraid of forgetting yourself? Forgetting that you were once human? Do you take the framed picture? I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like pictures, actually. I think I'm weird. But like photographs, I don't need them. I don't like taking photographs of myself, just in general. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be, oh, okay. You're supposed to like look back when you're like 70 years old and remember that time when I went to high school or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I don't need a photo to remind me of that. If I do forget, whatever. It wasn't important anyway. You know, that's how I look at it anyway. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really like keep photos. But maybe I'm the weird one. I guess I'll just leave it alone. Very similar to the flesh on the couch. Or indifferent. There's no use holding on to this image. It's no longer who you are. The image doesn't bother you all that much. After all, that's all it was. An image. A JPEG. You simply put it in the recycle bin. You place it where you found it and walk out of the room. Let's see, you go to sister's room. Your sister was the only one really kind enough to bring you breakfast. You wonder how long that would last. Will she run out of patience? Was it just an impulsive moment of charity? It's hard to tell how fickle her affection is, but you're still grateful for her help. You enter her room and look around for a little bit. It's tidy. Early so. She's always been organized, prim and proper. A straight-A kid through and through. You find a small stack of sticky notes on her desk. Do you want to write her a note? Sure, why not? Even if it was a matter of convenience, she doesn't need to see you. You still appreciate her bringing you some food even when your parents won't. You can write her a thank you note at least. You struggle with the pen, unused to the hard surface of your skin. The clawed fingertips don't help either. Still, you manage out a pathetic little thank and stick it on her desk. If nothing else to do, you walk back outside. Thank. At least put thanks with an S at the end. Or did it say that? Did it say thanks? Or does it just say thank? You know, thank. That doesn't make any sense. No, go back a sec. You feel uncomfortable going out and about like this for too long, not knowing when any of them are going to come home. So quietly, you slink back to your room to rest. You bring back the framed picture and place it on by your bed, feeling only slightly guilty for swiping it. Wait a minute, that's incorrect. I chose not to take the picture, actually? Yeah, and yet the game has assumed we took the picture. I don't know why. This is a glitch, developer. This is a game-breaking bug. Unplayable. You cannot help but look at it once again. That feeling of longing returns to you the longer you stare. Either way, you lay in your bed, curled like a fetus. Exhaustion takes you as you drift into sleep. You're woken from your nap with several knocks on the door. Groggily, albeit cautiously, you approach the door, opening a small slit. Your sister peeks through. Did you write that note? You nod slowly. You move away from the door, giving her some space. She reaches for your partially eaten dishes, probably thinking of cleaning it up. And then she peeks in again, staring at you for a few moments unspeaking. It's hard to tell what she was thinking. You wait nervously for her to do something. So, you do understand us still? Well, that makes sense. At least you can still understand me when I talk. But no speaking? You shake your head, awkwardly pointing your mouth, opening and closing a few times. Well, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. She walks into the room with a little more confidence now. You know, what's she wearing? She looks like she's wearing a business suit. She's like Agent 47. I don't know, maybe it's more like supposed to be like a school uniform. You know, Japanese school uniform. Hello, money bags. Just playing a little indie game about being a monster. But yeah, she walks in the room with a little more confidence now. I guess I'm a bit relieved that we can communicate at least. Well, kinda. Do you remember anything? You nod once, briefly wondering if it would be better if you didn't. So, do you remember me? Remember me? I don't know, I'm reminded of Metroid Other M. There's like a small meme about like a random NPC like opening his helmet and saying, "Remember me?" You know, even though nobody remembers him, he's like a random generic NPC that has no connection to the previous series of Metroid, and so like, but like he seems like, oh, you know, I'm such a famous guy. Remember me? You know, nobody remembers him. Anyway, but yeah, sister's asking, do you remember her? I mean, there's no reason to lie. I guess we will nod. You nod your head slightly. Okay. So you're really my brother, right? I mean, I'm assuming so, yes. You nod once again. Is she suspicious of you? Well, granted, you look nothing like you used to, but still. So, anyway, I did ask you if you could help me with my homework yesterday. You're still gonna help with that, right? Well, I don't know how we're gonna do that, but sure. I mean, why not? It's just reading through her essay, right? She squints her eyes, scrutinizing you. She quickly leaves the room as if escaping from a beast. Did you say the wrong thing? Now that she's out of the room, you're once again left to your own devices. You hear the clattering of dishes outside, and it seems like your sister is still doing the dishes. Or still doing the dishes? No, just doing the dishes. Usually you'll help her make dinner before your parents got home for you. Before you dinner? Or I was trying to point out a typo, but then I made a typo with my mouth. No, but yeah, before you parents got home. No, before your parents got home. But should you? Okay, so, I mean, seems like a bad idea considering we have claws. But let's try to help with dinner. Dinner. I wonder what's for dinner. You peek out the door, and the sound of the door opening obscured by the sound of running water. You wait for a moment, waiting for her to notice, but she doesn't seem to notice. You walk closer, and closer. She jumps in surprise when you poke her shoulder, dropping the spoon in her hands. And you too jump in surprise, knocking over a few glasses and eating utensils that are sitting on the counter. They shatter on impact. What are you doing? Just stop. Just go back to your room and wait. You're making this harder for me. Just go. You flinch at her, scolding, and back away slowly, looking at her apologetically. She instead turns away from you and groans. That didn't work. She looks like she was about to cry. You walk back into your room feeling absolutely terrible. That's an amazing decision. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. She should be able to manage on her own after all. You wait around your room with not much to do. Thankfully, it isn't long before you hear the front door opening, followed by 2 pairs of footsteps. Incoherent mumbling fill the halls outside, as does the clinking of silverware. You wonder if they'd be okay with you eating with them. Probably not. Not after this morning's reaction. Either way, you in your room for something, anything to happen. Some sort of clarity, I hope, on where to go from here. I hope? I think it's you hope. You know, again, I think that was a typo as well. Small little mistakes, I feel like. Because, you know, the game, the narration in particular, has been in second person, not in first person. So, anyway, you press your ear to the door, listening in on them in the dining room. I hope it's not too scary being home alone with that thing. You did keep the door locked, yes? It's fine, nothing happened. Is that really my brother, though? It's not your brother, no, of course not. Yeah, we don't even know if he can understand us or not. It really doesn't feel like him anymore. Is there no way to bring him back? Like, maybe if we... Just stop. But like, what if we just remind him that he was human? That thing was never human in the first place. But... Dad, just stop. They either did it quietly, not another word being muttered. It is followed by the sound of a door closing, and then too. You feel even more isolated than this morning. You start to wonder if maybe you should have reached out to your sister or something. Refund the game? I can't refund this game. Not that I would, even if I did buy this game. You know, I think it's fine so far, but you know, this is an itch.io game, meaning it's free, basically. At least the base price. You donate to the, basically donate to the developer if you want, but this is like free. If I refund this game, I get $0 back, you know? Which is, I feel like this game is, I guess we'll see, but I like it so far, actually. Anyway, You quietly eat your meal, hoping that nothing else would happen. However, you once again feel footsteps approach, heavier this time. Waiting for a moment and hearing nothing, you creep closer. Curious, you open the door to look. It's your dad. He steps back in surprise, and you close your door in his face in equal surprise. Talk about jump scare. We already saw. I don't know. This is the same picture though we saw before. Not surprising. Well, admittedly, that was a bit rude, but you're not exactly in the mood to talk to him. Besides, he can knock if he wants to talk. But nothing happened. How do you feel about this? Well, I'm disappointed. You know, what's being worse than being angry is being disappointed, but not surprised. Well, I can't say you're surprised, but it sure still sucks. You shrug it off and plant your face in the bed again. What a day. Yeah, am I right? Why are you writing that? Why is it suddenly like using, funny spelling? You once again settle in your bed, reflecting on the things that happened today. You woke up a monster this morning, tearing your way out of your own skin. You don't hate this as much as you thought, honestly, but it's still one hell of a thing to wake up to. Of course, your family does not react kindly to this change. Perhaps you've seen this coming, or perhaps not. Either way, you can't help but feel bitterness building up. It's not like you asked for any of this. I didn't ask for this. If anything, you probably wanted their help. But they've shown themselves to be cruel, and you can't help but feel anger. Was their affection all this time just a lie? You stew these emotions as you stare at the ceiling above you. But no sooner than you start, you let sleep overtake you. You wake to the sound of knocking. You wake up to see your dad open the door and pushing your sister inside with a bunch of things. Breakfast? She hands you your breakfast. Again, bit of a typo there. It's supposed to be narration, not Maisie talking, I feel like. And, I guess I'll leave this here too, I guess. Dad wanted you to have it. She places a bunch of books and photo albums on your bedside. She leaves as quickly as she enters, leaving you with all these items. Well, what do you want to do? I will eat. You take a look at the food. Some store-bought muffins accompanied by the same yogurt and fruits from yesterday. You're really only enthusiastic about the yogurt. You already know how dry and crumbly those muffins are just by looking. Still, you take a tentative bite of it before polishing off the little package of yogurt. So I wonder if there's a particular reason why we only like yogurt, Digging in, you soon hear the click of your bedroom door being locked. Probably your mom. You're not even surprised anymore. It is quickly followed by some incoherent mumblings, followed by the slam of the door. You can't be bothered to listen in. You already know the gist of things after all. It's always going to be some argument about you, which is funny because you're literally just here, chilling. Okay, why is the tone of the narration sometimes just suddenly very casual? I don't know why. A little bit inconsistent. Either way, you place a trash into a little, place a little trash into a little trash can in your room before awkwardly washing the plate in your bathroom sink. Surely you're also going to use hand soap for this. Not like you had much of a choice here. You awkwardly set the clean plate somewhere. Now what? Take a look at the items. Curious, your eyes head towards the various items your sister placed in your room. A photo album and some of your childhood favorite books. Anyway, now that they're all out of the house, you have the opportunity to look at the items. What do you want to look at? I guess we'll look at the photos. It's a childhood photo album containing photos of when you were a baby, up until your graduation a few years ago. It also has photos of your little sister as well as your parents. You let your curiosity overtake you as you browse through the photos. Baby photos, photos of you making your sister cry, and a bunch of other things from your childhood. There's a photo of your sister crying after you threw plastic bugs at her. And another when you got into a scuffle and ruined her haircut. You remember getting scolded hell a lot after both of these events. There are school photos for classmates from your and your sister's yearbooks. You barely remember them save for a few. You've largely left your life now. Or they've largely left your life now. And although you remember being close to them in your childhood, you can't help but wonder. Were you only friends because you were stuck together all day? I mean, that's literally the reason, for like school. You only become friends because you're always in the same location the whole time. You quickly lose contact with them finishing school, and honestly, you don't really care enough to reach out to them again. Can't help but wonder how they are, though. What are the chances that anyone aside from you turn out to be a monster too? You know, is it like is it infectious? Can't be just you, right? Done looking, you set aside the album. Now what? What do you want to look at? I look at books. You look at the books they left you. Funny, most are children's books you haven't touched in ages. Looking at it gives you a small blast from the past. Looking back, there was a point where you stopped sharing your life with your family. It's no surprise they don't have stuff from you when you were still a little kid. You wonder when this started happening. It's also quite telling of how they see you, as no more than a little kid still. Did your dad think this is all you're into? You go through the books anyway, reading through them quick, and you realize, while they're good books, they don't bring you the same joys as when you were a child. It's obvious to see that you've outgrown them. Either way, they do provide a little entertainment while you're locked up in here for the day. You gladly look over the books. They still bring you a measure of joy. What's the Dr. Seuss thing, you know? Green ham, something... Oh, the things you'll see, I don't know, anyway. But you can't help but feel sad that they're only here in your hands because your dad wants you to return to how you were. You almost think that you might appreciate it more if not for the pressure to return to how you were. To a time when you were normal. A good and normal kid. If only things were still that easy. Children's books can only distract you for so long. You set them aside once you're done looking through them. Well, I'm done looking. You're done looking. You vaguely understand that he's doing this because he's hoping for you to turn back into a human or whatever. What am I supposed to do? Grow new skin? You know? But you already know the futility of it. You look at the items, feeling only the vague feeling that these were important moments to you before. But now they're nothing more but cute little piles of trash. Well, you hope they'll take it back later. If anything, you pity him for trying so hard for something impossible. While some part of you longs to go back to how things were, that's just not possible. You set them aside. Locked in your... so much typos. Locked in your room, with not much else to do, you simply idle about in your room. Sure, you have plenty of unfinished business, but none of that really matters now, does it? With no one to talk to, nothing to do, and nowhere else to go. I mean, no internet? This is truly, torture. Is it so wild to think about running away, right? Still, you take one last cursory look around the room. With nothing left for you, you look towards the window. You open the window by your bed. The fenced backyard barely emerging into the woods just beyond. The freshness of the air beckoning to leave your little gilded cage. You take a tentative step out, your feet touching the ground outside with a generous thud. The fence is a bit high to climb, but it isn't difficult for your claws to dig into them. You tumble outside clumsily, for a second worried that someone's seen you. But the lushness of the forest, the feel of the fresh air on your skin, washes away your worries. The grass and the ground, the crunching of the leaves all feel so good. Adrenaline rushes in your blood, the twigs and wind bouncing off your hardened skin. When was the last time you felt this free? Your claws, your armored skin, and your heart all long to be out here. You take your time in the forest and watch the darkness settle as the sun sinks back into the horizon. But as the darkness hits, fear starts to seep in. The forest is wild and unfamiliar. You know no one, and nothing out here. And despite the longing, you do not know if you can call it home. You look back at the fenced building, that familiar little cage. It is then you realize you have nowhere to go but home. You carefully climbed the backyard fencing and was hoping to creep back inside unnoticed, but of course things are never that easy. Okay, well I was hoping we would just run into the forest and just live as a crazy forest monster. What do you think you're doing, you crazy monster? Oh shit, what if the neighbors saw him? We're gonna get evicted for sure. Do you realize what you just did? Are you insane going out like that? See what I told you, you can't reason with this thing. It was useless after all. You stupid piece of shit. What? You're not leaving this place, you parasite. Do you realize what you just did? Do you realize we were protecting you by letting you stay here? Why can't you just be grateful? Shouldn't even be surprised. You're no better than an animal after all. Your dad rushes past, tools in hand. Seems like they're determined to keep you in no matter what. You wince with each hit of the hammer behind you as he bores up the window. What do you think will happen if someone saw you? They'll call the cops, you know. What do you think they'll do to a disgusting monster like you? They'll get rid of a monster like you, that's what. And you know what? Maybe you deserve it. It's done. Get inside. And this time, stay inside. Well, it's weird. They reused that picture, even though that's supposed to be the father. Anyway, you hear the click of the door, followed by its locks. In the darkness, you can barely see anything, not even your hands. You can barely see the crack of the light from under the door. You hear the front door open. It must be Maisie. That's how you pronounce it, right? Maisie? I'm not sure. I never know how to pronounce names properly. You stick your ear to the wall, listening in. I can't find him. Don't worry about that. That thing came back on its own and sure won't be getting out anytime soon. Maybe it would have been better if it doesn't come back here. Let it be someone else's problem. That's... She's right. It didn't help after all. And we can't afford to lose this house. I told you, it was a lost cause. He's gone. Silence envelops the house as a foreboding feeling sinks into you. Mourning for you when you're right here, they've written you off as dead. They don't even consider you human, let alone family. This is no longer a place you can belong to. Anywhere else would be better than here. You shouldn't have come back. There's nothing left for you here. It was wrong to come back, you conclude. You need to leave. You need to get out of here. Even the wilderness would be a better place than this suffocating home. They've boarded up your bedroom window, and while you can try to pry it open, there's no way they won't hear you do so. There's still the bathroom window, though. Sure, it's a little small, but it's your best bet. You feel your way around the darkness, opening the bathroom door as softly as you can. You creep in, the faint moonlight from the bathroom window guiding you. I was wondering, why is everything dark? And they just literally turn off the frickin' electricity to the room, you know, in the breaker, I guess. You can't like turn on the lights. But yeah, you creep in, the faint moonlight from the bathroom window guiding you. The window is a little high up, but the toilet right below gives you the extra height you need to reach it. You contort yourself to try and fit into the window. The exoskeleton makes it difficult, and the gentle cracking noise alarms you. But you push through anyway. Whether it's your exoskeleton or the window that breaks doesn't matter to you. You already know you won't leave this place uninjured. What's most important is that you get out of here alive. You land with a thud, louder than you expect. And you hear the door of your room opening. You run. You keep running. You run until you don't hear the screams anymore. You look past your shoulder, the house becoming smaller and smaller with every step you take. And soon, it disappears from your sight. You look back one last time. A pang of longing hits you, and yet at the same time, relief. The place you called home is no more. But the world is so wide, it's kind of like a world wide web. No, you'll find a new one. You have to. Ending 4, Runaway. Thus we become like a weird monster of the forest. You know, we just hang out in there forever, I guess. We don't get Wi-Fi there, unfortunately. That sucks. Anyway, so that's one ending. So obviously, there are more endings to get, so let's see if we can get even more. So, there's very specific decisions I had to make, and it's kind of obscure to be honest. I wasn't really sure what affected whatever, but I guess we just chose options that, didn't really, we didn't really be nostalgic about anything, we just kind of do nothing, Anyway, you once again settle in your bed, reflecting on the things that happened today. You woke up a monster this morning, tearing your way out of your own skin. Of course, your family does not react kindly to this change. Perhaps you've seen this coming, or perhaps not. Thankfully, your sister seems to react a little better than your parents. She even found you a way to communicate with you again, despite your current form. That really makes you less alone. Okay. You stew in these emotions as you stare at the ceiling above you. You hope this is just a nightmare. Who knows? Maybe you'll be yourself again tomorrow. You bury yourself under the blankets as if it was a chrysalis you were desperate to go back in. Hoping and hoping that you could turn back time and end this nightmare. The darkness claims you. Words appear for a time long gone, never quite leaving your mouth. Where did things go wrong? How can you go back? Why did you change? Why did you turn into a monster? The void doesn't answer. I want to go back. I want to go back. You pray, fervently, but there's no reply. Once again, you wake up to darkness. Ending 2, red dragonflies. Okay, so that's an ending. That was kind of a hard ending to get. I don't know, I wasn't sure how to get that one specifically exactly. But basically you just kind of don't explore, you know, you sleep it off. You don't really do much. I don't think the sister matters. Your relationship with your sister doesn't matter too much, I think. But basically you just kind of like don't do anything. Okay? Alright, so we're back here. This is when we escaped, but then we came back, and then the parents got angry, and then they boarded up the windows again. For some reason, you feel like laughing. No way. They really thought they could keep you locked in here. You remember how flimsy the fence fell under your claws when you escaped earlier. Well, if you're gonna make noise regardless, why not go through the main gate? Fuck this place. You're done playing nice. They literally want you dead. Why were you playing nice in the first place? You ripped through the door with ease. Rip and tear. Did you know? Softer things tend to bend rather than break. They're malleable and can adjust their form accordingly. But none of that matters under your sharpened claws. You sigh when her stupid screaming stops. But then you see a cowardly shadow looming over you. You hear the sound of ringing as something blunt hits you from behind. All you see is red. You already know you're not leaving this place unharmed. You face your cowardly father, shaking like a scared dog as if he wasn't the one who just hit you. You would have laughed if your mouth allowed it. Even if it opened in his hand, with how sharp and pointy you are, it's not hard to find his soft spots. Maybe they're right. Maybe you're a beast, a monster even. You turn to the last living human in this place, her face plastered in fear. To be honest, you considered sparing her. But too bad, this is the genocide run. But her terrified eyes says all that you need to know. A monster. You really are a monster. Why did you ever think otherwise? Your struggles prove to be fruitful. You exhale. Those first few breaths hurts like hell, but you're breathing, and you're alive. You feel the cold morning air hit your wet body. It's cold. As your eyes adjust to the light, you see your hands underneath you. A mass of red with little pieces of skin hanging onto them. But you're alive. It's all that matters. Parasite. Parasite? I guess, like, you know, killing your parents? Familiar sign, you know? I mean, did he kill the sister? I think that was ambiguous. I'm not sure. But there you go. That's the edgy, like, of course, you know, kind of a cliche, but like, makes sense. It's the, you know, it's where you become the monster that everyone sees you as, and you freaking kill everyone. Great. Amazing. So, okay, so she was asking about homework. And you're wondering, you know, can either nod your head or wonder if she actually asked that. Did she ask that? You don't recall anything like that. She's never asked for your help with homework before. Is she testing you? You tilt your head at the question. Wait, no. It wasn't you who asked. Well, that's fine. She smiled at you. A smile that makes you a tad bit uneasy, but you shrug it off. Interesting. Well, either way, good to know that you can still, you know, understand us. Not ideal, but we can still communicate by writing, I guess. Not being able to talk sucks ass. You try talking, but your mouth just is simply ill-equipped for words. All you made were some noises. It frustrates you quite a bit, considering how talking used to come so naturally. Sure, there's other methods of communication like writing and body language, but they rely on having the other person's full attention on you. And not only you're not easy to look at, it's also uncomfortable even for you. Sensing your discomfort, your sister looks at you with worry. This sucks, huh? I mean, we can learn sign language, I guess, but it requires me to actually look at you when I talk. Or you have to bring around pen and paper or something, I guess. Inconvenient. You're probably thinking it's inconvenient, right? Your sister, however, seems to have an idea. Well, if we have something auditory, maybe we should learn Morse code? No, actually, isn't there something easier? Wait, I'm sure there is. Let me try and recall. She leaves the room with renewed vigor. Honestly, that could go a lot worse. You were a bit surprised at how chill she was about the whole monster thing. A very stark contrast to your parents, but you're glad she doesn't hate you. But now that she's out of the room, you're once again left to your own devices. Okay. So interesting. That went down a lot differently. I guess it is like the third choice or whatever. You're not supposed to nod again because it seems suspicious. He understands us. He probably remembers us and himself. Isn't it just mean? It's not like he decided to be a monster. And we all lived as a family for so long. That's... Don't you understand? That thing is your brother. That gives you an excuse to lock him up? Cool. You don't understand how a mother feels. Hey, now, both of you... So what? Are you gonna throw him out just like that? After treating him like a son for, 20 years now? Are you gonna kick me out the moment I become anything but your ideal child, too? Maisie. I'm going back to my room. Do your own dishes this time. She stomps away, closing her door with a massive slam that scares even you. It's your first time seeing your sister like this, and it's most likely your parents' first time, too. But, well, she's got a point, you know. Maybe you would just remind him how he was before, we could stop the... Not you too. That thing isn't our son. You need to wake up. That thing was and never will be our child. You hear your mom walk away from the dining room, followed by the slam of the door. Your slumber is interrupted with yet another knock on your door. This time, however, is your sister. Hey, can I come in? You step away from the door, letting her enter. You probably heard all that, right? I'm okay. I'm okay now. I've calmed down, I think. Anyway, I did say I was gonna look this up. She hands you a piece of paper with some scribbles on it. It's tap code. Easier than Morse code, I promise. Tap code? I didn't know that existed. Well, less memorization at least. You just gotta remember AFLQV. That seems hard. You tap according to the designated rows first, and then the column. Is this a gameplay mechanic? Do I need to remember this? So I guess hi would be... Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, so tap, tap. Wait. How many taps though? A tap... Like tap, tap, 2, and then... Wait, no, rows first, right? So tap, 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 tap. Okay, rows first and then column. Okay, I was thinking columns first for some reason. No, rows first. Tap, tap, and then tap, tap, tap is H. And then... Tap, 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 tap is I. Hi. Yep, that sounds right. You're not sure if this is better than just writing, but it seems simple enough, if perhaps a bit slow. And of course, no need to fiddle trying to grip a pencil with these armored hands. Got it? Yeah. Oh, you can shorthand yes with just K, by the way. K, just like texting on a phone or something. Huh. Isn't this kind of fun? It's kind of like a secret code, isn't it? Well, I guess it really is one. Well, it's a bit slow, but at least you don't have to carry around pen and paper, huh? TY. Thank you. Oh, that's a good idea. Acronyms are good for this, I feel. I actually, in real life, by the way, I hate acronyms. I actually, when I text on the phone or whatever, I do not like shortening things or like using abbreviations because it's always confusing. I dislike acronyms. But anyway. I know, right? Okay. IKR. Now, with this new method of communication, you can ask her some questions if you like. So, do you ask her anything? Let's see. You're not scared? You okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? I'm fine, I think. What do you mean? Not scary. She thinks for a second, trying to understand what it is you're asking. Me. Oh, well, I guess it takes some getting used to, but I mean, I'm fine, I guess. It's not like you try to commit murder or anything. Yet. Fair. Besides, it's kind of cool to have my bro turn into an SCP. Okay, why is it an SCP reference? Thank God you're in Keter class, I think. What? Oh, yeah, never mind that. I'm okay, can't say the same for mom and dad, though. They sure are taking it rough, though Dad seems to think you turned back or something. If only. I figured you would have done so if you could. Do our parents know about this? They don't know? About? Tap. No, I didn't tell them. I don't think they'd be happy to know that I'm talking to you in the first place. Do you want me to teach them? It might make day-to-day easier. I don't know. No, not yet. I don't know. Gotta. My lips are sealed until you say otherwise. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't like acronyms because I'm like, what does this mean? I can interpret this as an infinite amount of ways. You know, I'm not infinite, I guess. There's, I guess, a limit to the English language, but still. Talk to you later. Yes, okay. See, it takes me a moment. I'm like, what does it stand for? I don't know. I can't keep up with all these abbreviations and these acronyms. Youngsters these days. Why can't you just spell out the entire word? Come on. Just type faster. Okay, I'll go back to my room. See ya. See ya. I'm freaking old, okay? I'm old! These youngsters, if they're like slang. But she closes the door carefully behind her. You feel relief wash over you after talking to her. At least you're someone who can talk, or who you can talk to and chill with the whole monster thing, I guess. You're glad you reached out to her, and now both of you have found a way to communicate that's not just writing. You can't imagine what it would be like to have no one by your side. It's almost terrifying to think of. Okay, so interesting. So now we have a better relationship for her sister, and obviously that might affect the ending. Lock the door. What? I didn't hear you lock the door. Lock it. What if that thing goes out and rampages? You hear the hesitant click of the door being locked. Cool, cool, cool. Again, cool, cool, cool. Why is it cool, cool, cool there? It's just weird to me. It's like a thing the developer would say. Like, it's just a thing they say. Cool, cool, cool. You know, like it feels weird because, look, a narrator is supposed to be impartial. You know, they're not supposed to have like a weird thing they say. You know? I don't know. So, how is he? Why don't you go yourself? Why don't you go yourself instead of asking me? I would, but that's it, huh? You'd rather sacrifice me than monster than go in yourself? It's almost refreshing to see her so sarcastic against your parents. Maisie, I'm leaving. I don't want to talk about this anymore. He's your son. You should be the one taking care of him instead of me. The silent door echoes. Maisie, you're grounded. Oh, now are you gonna make me stay home with him? Huh. You hypocrite. You can barely hear her stomping away. I swear to God, when did that kid get so rebellious? That's all because of that thing. You should have killed that thing when you had the chance. What the hell? You barely done anything else outside eating and sleeping. You did the worst thing of all, existing. But what if it could turn back? What if that really is our son? Have you seen that thing? That's not human. Nothing but disgusting vermin. Let's just try this first, okay? Okay, so this... Okay, we also leave again. They get angry. We leave, and then we're like, actually, being outside's not so great, and they come back, and they're like, what the heck are you doing here? You either stay inside. And they freaking, board up the window, or whatever. Okay, so... Are you insane? He's your son. My son is dead. You're serious? You really rather have him dead and different. You're insane. You're both insane. Dad, why do you stop her? It's no use after all. That thing is just... You're both shit parents, you know that? Do you even know how hard it is to raise kids? Oh, so your idea of raising kids is to lock them inside when unexpected changes happen? You're fucking insane. Watch your mouth. Make me, bitch. What? You. Both of you. Stop. What are you gonna say? That I'm grounded? Well, guess what, dear father? I'm already grounded twice over. Maisie. Fuck off. I'm going back to my room. Okay. Those words were followed by loud stomps and topped off with a massively satisfying slam of the door. A moan of silence follows through the entire house before tired sighs were heard. You sit in the darkness, ruminating your options. You wait until you hear your parents enter the room as you think about your options. The logical thing to do in this case is to run away, right? But considering how this escalated, you aren't sure it'll be wise to leave your sister in a place like this. But it's not like she could stay with you either. You feel your way around the room, finding your way to the wall adjacent to her room. You make a gentle, rhythmic tap, hoping to get her attention. Thankfully, she seems to notice and taps back. You okay? I don't know. Why return? Why indeed? Some part of you already knew that you've outgrown this place. There's no space for you here. The home you know and love is long gone. I don't know. Go. Is she telling you to escape? Where? Any. You wait for her to say something else, and nothing comes. The house creaks and groans in the night as you tentatively tap the wall. Alright, that's that then. You pretty much agree with her. You shouldn't have come back. But you're also a little glad you did. At least you get to tell her. And perhaps hearing her tell you to get out of here gives you the confidence you needed to leave for good. You think of your options to escape. You could probably tear out the planks of your boarded-up window, but that'll probably make a lot of noise. There's a small ventilation window in the bathroom that you might fit in, though. Are you gonna vent? That's sus. And you can probably also break the door, but that'll definitely get your parents' attention. Asking Macy to unlock is another option, definitely the least noisy. Still, where would you go from here? What do you need to bring? Clothes, ID card, some money too, I guess. Aren't you glad you took that part-time job last semester? Also, ID card, how's that gonna work? You look completely different. Some documents like your birth certificate are outside. You may need to leave without them. Can you rent your own place like this? Well, it's worth a try anyway. You reckon even being out in the wild might be better than staying here. You collect what little things you could carry with you when you hear the subtle click of the door. Your sister peeks in and gives a slight nod. Well, that was easier than you expected. You peek out, looking around. The house is dark and empty, no noise from your parents. Granted, it's a little late. Your sister throws you a small bag before opening the front door. You peek into the bag, as the documents you are missing. How the hell did she even... Marriage date. They should have chosen something a little harder. Wait, I don't know what that means, to be honest. Marriage date? I don't know. Like arranged marriage? I don't know. How's that related? I actually don't know what the connection there is. Maybe I'm dumb. Anyway, you've been seeing your more rebellious side these days. You can't even say you're surprised anymore. Was she always like this? I guess that makes sense. Even you stopped sharing stuff with your parents a while back. So, you have plans somewhere to go? You shake your head. She looks a little worried. You sure you're gonna be okay? You shrug. Well, it's gotta be better than staying here, I guess. Well, I mean, if anything happens, come visit, I guess. When they're not around, of course. Honestly, I don't even think they'll even look for you. I won't be even surprised if an... obit? Obit ran in the papers tomorrow? I don't know what an obit is. Is that a typo or is it just something I don't know? I have no idea. Obit. Obituary? You mean obituary, maybe? Is that what she means? Again, I hate slang. You know, I hate like shortened versions of words. You can't even argue with that. I don't get why you chose to stay. Isn't it suffocating? I can't wait to graduate so I can get my own space and get out of here. I can't believe you chose to stay and live at home when you could get out of college, out of town, and get your own place. Well, don't need to pay rent and utilities, free food. You know, it's just economic. You know, it's just economical, rather. You shrug again. She's right, I guess. Most people would do that one day. If they can, at least. You were probably scared of leaving home. Losing all the comforts of your home and starting again. You probably thought that it's okay even if you have to play the role of a good, normal son every day. But it's not like there's much of a choice now. Not when your own parents want you dead. Either way, come visit if you need anything, I guess. Mom and Dad will disagree, but, mi casa, tu casa? Is that the right phrase? It's Spanish, right? It's my home is your home? Something like that? But I thought it was different. Anyway, I'll even leave the windows unlocked for you. But yeah, you better survive until I get my own place, right? We'll both make it out of here. Yeah, we'll both make it out of here. Saying your final silent goodbyes, you look one last time at the place you've called home all your life. You hear the door close quietly behind you. You don't look back. Ending 5, leaving home. All right, there you go. That's all of the endings, and that's the game. It's interesting. I can see how, I can definitely see the parallels of the original story, Metamorphosis, from, what's the name? Franz Kafka, I guess. Kafka-esque, is a popular term. And yeah. And, it's definitely interesting little twists here and there. It's obviously kind of cool how, like, there are different endings, and, there's a happy ending, and there's, like, the freaking edgy ending, but, there's different outcomes and whatnot, which is definitely different from the original story as well. Obviously, there's a metaphor, I feel like it's a little bit on the nose, a little bit, but obviously there's a metaphor here about not just, like, the main protagonist turning into a monster, but also just changing just in general, like, you could apply that for a lot of things, I guess. But like, just as a person, right? Just as a person, just changing, right? Changing as a person, becoming someone else, and parents not approving, right? And like, obviously, that's like the kind of like the crux of the main idea of the story as well, beyond just obviously the supernatural aspects, I don't know what you call that. I don't know. It's just classic storytelling, really. It's just kind of like, again, just a metaphor. But also not, it's literal, it's like both literal, but also a metaphor, It's kind of like a combination. Anyway, anything else I want to say? The art is okay. I wish there was more of the actual main character, to be honest. Everything's kind of shadowy and whatnot. I actually want to see more of the monstrous form. That'd be kind of cool. You only see the hands. But I guess it's supposed to be like, it's first person POV, so we don't see it very often, maybe that's the idea. But I kind of wish at the end, maybe revealed that we would be what we look like as a monster. Or maybe not, right? It could be like dependent on the outcome, right? It could be like if we chose like very like, violent options or whatever, we would be like the monster that we see ourselves as. Or, if it's like a happier ending, when we look at ourselves, we just look fine, we don't actually look like a monster. It's just that everyone else is assuming that we're a monster, maybe. I don't know, something like that. It'd be interesting. But anyway, but I just want to see more of like, interesting visuals, beyond just simply the mundane stuff, I feel like the character that I've seen most often of like expression and whatnot is her sister, but that's kind of it, I kind of want to see more though. Anyway, but yeah. And the only criticism I have, though, definitely is the spelling. Definitely a lot of typos, a lot of like grammar errors, I gotta say. At least from what I've noticed. Maybe some few things here and there, maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but I feel like for the most part, though, I think there's just a lot of errors. So that really needs to be fixed. I don't know if developers gonna work on it, maybe 1.1, they're gonna like fix all the errors. I don't know. But someone needs to like read through it again and just kind of fix all that. And also the tone as well. And this is kind of like a personal preference. But I feel like the tone as well is kind of like inconsistent. Sometimes the main character kind of speaks in a very casual way. He even starts saying like, like lol, whatever, which is fine when they're doing like the tap code, I guess, when talking to sister. But like, if they're talking like in person, like as dialogue, I think it's okay. But like if you're changing the tone like inconsistently in terms of narration, it feels wrong. I don't know. That's just me though, but I'm not sure, because when you're talking like second person, at least the way the game is written, I feel like the narration should be more impartial. Like you describe things that are happening to you. They're using you as the pronoun, which is a very specific way to write a story. So like I feel like a narration needs to be more like, things are happening to you. Like be more impartial. And be more like not just like and lol. Things are things that are happening to you, omega lol, LMAO, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Like sometimes it shifts to like as if the main character is speaking, which again is fine, but like it has to be very explicit that it's not the narration, it's them like kind of like thinking or speaking, right? So anyway, I feel like there needs to be a distinction there, but that's just me though. That's my personal preference. I don't know. I just don't vibe with the whole like Zoomer language. I don't know. It's like because I've played a similar game in the past actually that was just all that, and it was like I don't know. I didn't like it that much, but maybe it's because I'm just old. I'm just old. I'm too old for this. Anyway, overall, I think it's a nice story. Yeah, I kind of wish there was more horror elements though, but maybe it's not so she's like super scary. It's just like psychological horror, you know. But yeah, overall I liked it. But there you go. That's it for Imago Dirge. And I guess what do I usually say when I sign off? What do I usually say again? I say like, I guess if you're watching the video on the channel, then if you want to see more, then you can go to my channel and look for other playthroughs. You can also subscribe as well and change the notifications from personalized to all if you want to catch my live streams and you want to watch it live as well. But there you go. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then.